Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right, but nothing seems to move? You're praying, trusting, trying to stay hopeful, but the silence is loud. Opportunities slip away, people drift, doors close. And deep down, a quiet question starts to form. Did I miss it? Did God forget me? You're not alone. Many people hit this exact moment right before the breakthrough they've been waiting for. But because they don't recognize the signs, they give up too soon. See, spiritual transitions rarely come with clear instructions. They arrive disguised as pressure, isolation, restlessness, or delay. But if you understand what these moments really mean, everything changes. What once felt like confusion becomes confirmation. Signs that God is moving behind the scenes, even when it feels like nothing's working. So stay with us until the end, because what you'll hear might just be the reminder your soul has been waiting for. I'd like to ask you to subscribe to our channel. Thank you. The pressure before the promise. You've been holding on, praying, trying to stay faithful, but lately it's felt like the ground beneath you is shaking more than ever. It's confusing, isn't it? You expect things to get lighter when you're closer to the blessing, but instead, life feels heavier. Pressure builds, people shift, circumstances spiral, and deep down, you begin to wonder if you missed something. If God really heard your prayer. If what you believed was just your imagination playing tricks. But here's something nobody tells you. Before the promise, there's always pressure. Before the breakthrough, there's always a breakdown. It's not punishment. It's preparation. Think of a seed underground. It bursts, breaks, pushes through darkness before it ever sees light. You're not being buried. You're being planted. And if it hurts right now, it might just be because something is starting to grow. And sometimes the shaking is not the end. It's the beginning of something holy. Joseph didn't go straight from dream to destiny. He went through betrayal, slavery, prison, and silence. Each stage looked like a detour, but none of it was wasted. God wasn't punishing him, he was positioning him. The shaking in your life might feel like a curse, but it's the sound of foundations being reset. Old structures can't support a new level. What feels like falling apart might be God making space for something greater. What looks like loss could be alignment in disguise. You may be seeing resistance because your purpose is finally becoming a threat. The enemy doesn't attack what isn't dangerous. If your life is under fire, maybe it's because heaven's about to release what hell can't stop. And the enemy? He's not just trying to steal your blessing. He's trying to steal your belief before you even see it arrive. Because belief is the soil where miracles grow, and doubt is what keeps them buried. This is the point where most people quit. Not because they're weak, but because they don't recognize the pressure for what it really is. You're not breaking, you're breaking through. And if everything feels like it's shaking, maybe it's because you're standing at the edge of something that was never meant to be small. What you're carrying requires more space than your current life can hold, so the shaking isn't destruction, it's expansion. You were never meant to fit into average. So when life starts squeezing, maybe it's trying to push you out of the box you were never made to live in. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this waking up inside me? You're not being tested to prove your weakness. You're being forged to carry something heavy with grace. Strength doesn't come from comfort. It comes from pressure, from pain, from perseverance. And when God is building something eternal in you, He doesn't start with applause. He starts with silence. And He moves in the dark before He ever reveals in the light. Your tears are not a sign of failure. They're evidence that you're still fighting, that you haven't given up, that somewhere deep in your spirit, you still believe there's something worth holding on to. And maybe, just maybe, that belief is the key to unlocking everything you've been waiting for. Even when hope feels thin, your endurance is declaring, I still trust the promise. The wilderness doesn't mean you're lost, it means you're being led. Sometimes the enemy's loudest attacks come when heaven is closest. The tension you're feeling is not always a signal to retreat, it's often confirmation that you're walking the right road. You don't need a full blueprint to keep walking, you just need the courage to take one more step. You've made it this far for a reason. That pressure that feels like it's about to crush you? It's actually proof that you're carrying something worth birthing. If the storm has intensified, it's not to destroy you, it's to shape you. God doesn't send chaos for the sake of chaos. He sends shaking when something sacred is coming to the surface. So don't run from this moment. Don't numb it. Don't try to escape it. Lean into it. Let the fire burn away everything that doesn't belong, because what remains will be pure, solid, and unshakable. Because what's on the other side of this pressure is the promise you've been praying for. And sometimes the collapse isn't the end. It's the sound of heaven laying the first brick. Don't mistake the pressure as punishment. It may just be proof that your story is shifting. So hold on. Something bigger than you imagined is already on its way. And when it comes, it won't just bless you. It will bless everyone connected to you. Before continuing with our spiritual evolution, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Divine disconnection, when God starts removing. People don't always walk away because you did something wrong. Sometimes they walk away because they were never meant to stay. And when God is preparing to give you something big, one of the first things He does is clear the space around you. It feels painful, confusing. You start asking, why now? Why them? Why does everything familiar feel like it's falling apart? But here's the hard truth. Blessings require room. And sometimes that room has to be made by subtraction, not addition. God doesn't just open doors. He closes them too. And often, the doors that slam hardest are the ones that would have kept you small. You're praying for elevation, but you're holding on to attachments from a version of yourself that can't come with you. Growth demands separation, not out of cruelty, but precision. The next level of your life doesn't require more people around you. It requires more of you, more clarity, more obedience, more surrender. Let's be honest. Some of the people who left weren't helping you grow. They were just keeping you comfortable. Some opportunities that vanished weren't aligned with your purpose. They were distractions dressed as direction. God isn't trying to isolate you to break you. He's trying to separate you to shape you. And that disconnection you're feeling? It's not abandonment, it's protection. He's protecting your time, your mind, your spirit, and your future from weights you didn't even know you were carrying. Think of Jesus before He did miracles. He withdrew. Moses before the call, wilderness. David before the crown, caves. These weren't setbacks. They were sanctuaries. And you might be in one right now. The silence, the shift, the solitude, it all feels unnatural. But maybe that's because it's supernatural. God isn't removing things to punish you. He's removing what can't go where He's taking you. And sometimes the hardest part of this divine disconnection is not the loss itself, but the uncertainty it leaves behind. It feels like the rug has been pulled from under you, and you're left standing in a space where nothing feels stable. But here's something few people will say. Instability is often the first sign that you're moving from being planted in the world systems to being rooted in God's will. The more things feel like they're slipping through your fingers, the more you're being asked to look up. You might be trying to fix things that God is trying to free you from. You might be trying to reattach yourself to places He's already called you out of. And here's the truth. God doesn't send confusion, but He does allow disruption. Why? Because some attachments are so deeply embedded in our comfort zones that only pain will convince us to release them. This isn't rejection, it's redirection. He's making sure that when the blessing shows up, there's nothing left in your life that could poison it. And that disconnection you feel, that silence, that absence of affirmation or reassurance from others, it's not failure. It's heaven's version of renovation. He's stripping down the walls you built in past seasons so He can rebuild something sacred in this one. You don't have to understand everything right now. You just have to stay open. Let go of the belief that everything must make sense before you move forward. Sometimes the understanding only comes after the obedience. Trust that if God is allowing the disconnection, it's because connection is coming, something deeper, something divine, something you've been preparing for all along. What feels like a season of endings is actually a season of beginnings disguised in unfamiliar form. This isn't the closing of your story. It's the cutting of a ribbon on something brand new. And that tension you feel in your spirit, that isn't anxiety, it's anticipation. Something sacred is forming. Something heavy with purpose. Something so real that the world around you has to shift to make space for it. The stirring within, when restlessness isn't random. Here's what no one talks about. Sometimes you outgrow your life before you have the words to explain it. You wake up and everything looks the same, but it doesn't feel the same. The job that once gave you pride now feels like a cage. The routines feel forced. The winds don't hit like they used to. And you start asking yourself questions you've never asked before. Not because you're lost, but because something deeper is waking up. Something sacred. This restlessness isn't random. It's not failure. It's transition. When God is preparing you for something greater, He often begins by making the current version of your life too small to contain who you're becoming. It starts on the inside. In your thoughts. In your emotions. In your spirit. You feel a gentle pull to disconnect from noise, to reflect more, to crave meaning instead of just momentum. That isn't boredom, it's divine discontent. This is how God works. He stirs your spirit before He moves your surroundings. The discomfort you feel is not punishment, it's preparation. He's increasing your sensitivity so you stop clinging to what's no longer aligned with your future. You begin noticing the gap between where you are and where you sense you're supposed to be. That gap isn't there to shame you. It's there to guide you. You'll feel drawn to silence more than usual. Conversations that once energized you now feel shallow. You start noticing patterns, moments where you feel pulled toward prayer, toward journaling, toward asking questions you never dared to ask before. And all of it, every nudge, every whisper, is God building your awareness before He builds your platform. That sacred unrest is how your soul starts rejecting anything that doesn't match your calling. You don't need to force anything. Just stay sensitive. Because if you numb it with distractions, you delay the transformation. And this moment right now, it's not asking you to hustle harder. It's asking you to listen deeper. God isn't calling you to burn out. He's calling you to become. And becoming means letting go of what's comfortable in favor of what's eternal. It means being honest about the things that no longer speak to who you truly are. It means stepping out of rooms that can't hold the next version of you. Not because you're better than anyone, but because you're becoming better than you were. That tension in your chest, that restlessness in your spirit, that feeling like you were made for something more. It's not just emotion. It's instruction. And if you follow that voice, even when it feels risky, you'll find that you were never confused. You were being calibrated. So don't rush this season. Don't mute it. Don't run from it. Just stay awake. Because if you're feeling this stirring deep in your spirit, there's only one reason. Something big is coming. Something that requires a new version of you. And this version, the one you're becoming right now, is finally ready to receive it. Unforced open doors, when alignment begins to replace struggle. You see, when God starts aligning things, it won't always make logical sense. You'll look around and think, how did I get here? How did this happen so quickly? But what others call sudden, was seated in sacrifice. It came from quiet disciplines, from prayers you whispered through tears, from moments when giving up would have been easier than believing again. But you believed, and now, grace is answering in ways effort never could. This is the divine flow, when everything seems to meet you where you are, not because you're lucky, but because you're ready. Your mindset shifted. Your standards rose. Your boundaries held. You stopped begging for seats at tables you were meant to build. You stopped shrinking to fit old environments. You outgrew the idea that hustle alone creates destiny, and you leaned into the truth. Peace is your new compass. And here's what's beautiful. When you walk in alignment, even the no's start to feel holy. Closed doors no longer shake your faith. Delays no longer steal your joy. You don't get lost trying to force your way into anything. You wait, you watch, you discern, and you trust that if it's yours, it won't need to be manipulated. It will come because it was always meant to. You've entered a new rhythm, one that doesn't demand your exhaustion, but invites your excellence. And this rhythm won't burn you out, it'll build you up. Because now, you're moving with God, not ahead of Him. You're in step with your calling, no longer chasing validation, no longer drowning in overcommitment. You've made space. And in that space, miracles can finally breathe. So keep walking, keep listening, keep honoring that peace that pulled you out of chaos. This alignment is more than a season, it's a sign that your life is shifting from survival to stewardship, from confusion to clarity, from waiting to walking. You're not just witnessing answered prayers, you're becoming the answer. And every step you take now is no longer about getting there. It's about being here, rooted, ready, releasing what was and receiving what is. This is the unforced rhythm of grace. And this is just the beginning. If anything inside you has been stirring while you listened, it's not by accident. You're not just watching this for motivation. You're here because something sacred is shifting in your life. What you're going through right now isn't meant to break you, it's meant to build you. And while the process may not be pretty, the promise on the other side is worth it. So don't rush to fix what God is still forming. Don't force open doors that are meant to stay shut. Instead, stay present, stay surrendered, stay ready. Because when it comes, it won't just be a blessing. It will be confirmation that every tear counted, every delay had purpose, and every not yet was really just get ready. If this spoke to you, drop a "I receive it" in the comments below. Because your journey isn't over. It's only just beginning. If this video has changed your spiritual journey and helped you connect with your universal strength, subscribe to the channel, leave a like below, and activate the notification bell so we can notify you when new content arrives. We also suggest watching the video indicated on the screen so you can continue your journey of spiritual growth and inner evolution of knowledge. Thank you for staying with us until the end, and see you in the next video.